The December 17th Westfield Washington School Board Trustees meeting is now in session. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are glad to see so many of you here. Since we have a quorum present, please stand for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. The first item on our agenda this evening is something we always look forward to, and it is celebrating our Students of the Month. A couple of notes before we get started. Mr. David Dixon will be capturing professional photographs of each student this evening as they receive their awards. After all the students have been recognized, we will take a brief intermission. During this time, Students of the Month and their families are invited to enjoy refreshments in the lobby. Mr. Dixon will also be available in the lobby to take photos of students with their families and school representatives. We will now begin with the Virginia F. Wood Early Learning Center.
Good evening and welcome to the school board meeting tonight. I'm Marcy Dorado. I'm the director of the Early Learning Center, and I am so pleased to present Annie Ferris to you tonight. And we always get to do this every month. We have lots of great kids, but I never get to say that a lot of the way children act for us and the things they do are due to parenting. And she kind of proves that point because last year in December, her brother was our Student of the Month. So we're very happy to be able to share that. I have all kinds of great things to say about Annie. I could talk and talk and talk. I've known her since she was an infant in our building and have gotten to watch her grow and learn and share and be kind, develop walking and speaking, and she's just an all-around fantastic girl. But I'm going to let the teacher take a minute to share a couple kind things about her also.
Hi, my name is Miss Hannah, and I am one of Annie's teachers. Annie is the perfect example of a stellar student. She comes in each and every day with a smile on her face, ready to learn and ready to help others learn. She is not only as smart as can be, but she is also kind and has a great sense of humor. Annie is respectful, curious, cooperative, patient, and an amazing example of a peer model in a co-teach classroom. We are so lucky to have you in our class, Annie.
And Annie is only in a 3-year-old classroom, so we're going to get to have her one more year, and then she'll get to go on to Maple Glen, where they will be lucky to have her at that point. We are so proud to celebrate this wonderful child. Please help us congratulate Annie Ferris.
Next, we have Maple Glen.
Good evening. I'm Mary Beth Fisher, the principal at Maple Glen, and tonight we have Miss Jana, and Jana's a 4th grader at Maple Glen, and she was nominated by your 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Fritchie, for being a LEAF leader, which at Maple Glen means that you are a lifelong learner, empathetic, accountable, and flexible. So I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Fritchie so she can read a little about a lot that she had to say about you.
All right. Jana is new to Maple Glen this year, having just moved to Indiana. And although this can be a hard transition for kids, Jana seamlessly just fit right into our classroom and into Maple Glen. From day one, Jana has showed up with a warm smile, a positive attitude, and 100% effort towards everything that she does. Her classmates respect Jana not only for her kindness, but also for her thoughtful approach to what we are learning. When Jana shares, her classmates listen because they know what she has to share is on point and insightful. I also see this in the work that Jana does in class. She strives to be her best and takes every opportunity to learn and better herself. I appreciate her effort and the thoughtful approach that she takes in everything that she does. In talking with various specials teachers, they shared how helpful and on task Jana is in her work, showing both creativity and flexibility. She can work with anyone and always shows great teamwork. Even though Jana has all of these amazing qualities, she approaches others and her work with humility and respect that embodies being a lifelong learner and empathetic peer. Her quiet and gentle presence is such a positive part of our classroom, and I appreciate her so much. Jana, thank you for all that you bring to our classroom, and I know that these qualities will continue to have a positive impact in the classroom and beyond. And it's for all of these reasons that we have nominated you. And I have to say, Jana is actually moving, which I'm going to get a little emotional. And I just had to, when I found out she was going to be leaving Maple Glen, I just would be remiss without just honoring her. I did.
Can we please still do it?
I did. So, but I just wanted to say how much of an impact in such a short amount of time that you have made on us. And we just appreciate you, and we will miss you so, so much.
And I know Mr. Lawrence, your principal at Hinkle Creek, and I already texted him and I said, Mr. Lawrence, you're getting the most amazing Jana and sister to come in January. So he's very excited that you are coming. So let's give Jana a round of applause for our Student of the Month.
Next, we have Cary Ridge Elementary.
Hello, my name is Andy Hilton, and I'm the proud principal at Cary Ridge Elementary. And this is my friend Henry. He is a second grader with us in Mrs. Albert's class. And each month we talk about different lifelines like respect and being positive, empathy, and all those things. And to be honest, Henry could be picked every month. But our classrooms all pick the student of the month, and then we throw them all in together, and we go through and we pick out the student to bring here. And by far, Henry was just the number one pick. Like I said, he's an awesome kiddo, and I'm going to let Mrs. Alberts.
Hi, I'm Julie Alberts. I'm Henry's teacher this year in second grade. Henry, I can't say enough positive words about Henry. He's an amazing family. He's always happy and willing to learn. He's polite and compassionate with his friends and all teachers that he works with. He's an excellent role model. He does all the right things, and I can't ask for a more wonderful student. He's always willing to work in the classroom. He's enthusiastic about learning new things, especially our knowledge unit. He's always got a positive outlook towards what we're learning next and loves his friends. Always great to have him walk in every day and always has a smile on his face. So I'm really proud of Henry and so grateful that he's in my classroom this year. So.
And we had, once we announced that Henry was our star of the month, our student of the month, star of the month, same thing. But we had a bunch of teachers reach out and wanted to share some things. So I have some info in here that all says the same thing. What a wonderful, just outstanding kiddo he is. So we are just very proud of Henry and thankful that he is with us at Cary Ridge. And so if you could help me congratulate him as our star of the month.
Next, we have Monon Trail Elementary.
Hi, I'm Heather Darnell, proud assistant principal at Monon Trail Elementary School, and I have the pleasure of introducing one of our amazing students, Ethan Morris, who was nominated by his third grade teacher for being just an outstanding student, and we are so proud of him. And I have had the pleasure of knowing Ethan since kindergarten, and I have had the pleasure of watching him grow and mature over the years and become the student that he is now. And in talking with his peers and his former teachers, they all had nothing but wonderful things to say about him. All of his peers describe him as kind and always helping others. And his second grade teacher said about him that the only thing that he might be better at, other than school and football, is being a wonderful big brother to his little sister, who is here tonight also. And his third grade teacher, Mrs. Waters, has more wonderful things to say about him as well.
Ethan has been doing an excellent job of being self-aware in the classroom. He pays attention to his actions and how they affect others, always striving to make thoughtful choices. Whether working on a project or helping a classmate, Ethan is mindful of his surroundings and ensures that he is respectful and considerate. His ability to stay in tune with himself and those around him sets a great example for everyone.
And Ethan, this is so well deserved, and we are so proud of you. So if you could help me congratulate Ethan, please.
Next, we have Oak Trace Elementary.
Good evening, everybody. I am Jane Hitch. I'm the very proud principal at Oak Trace, and I am so excited to introduce my friend Bryce and his teacher, Ms. Vanetta, to you tonight. Bryce is just such a happy guy. We are just so love having him here at Oak Trace. His whole family, I said, his twin brother Nolan or his sister Kinsey could be up here too. It's just a really great family who are always so polite and model how to treat people right and do the right thing. I talked to your kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Baldwin, and she said that you have a heart of gold. You're a good friend to others. You worked hard in the classroom, and you treat all adults and peers with the utmost respect. And she can't wait to see what a life changer you're going to be. Ms. Vanetta, you want to talk a little bit about how he is this year?
Yes, thank you. I'm Kristen Vanetta, Bryce's proud teacher. He's a caring child. He's hardworking. He always demonstrates kindness. Every day he brings a smile to everybody in the room. Every day he comes with a smile. He shares that enthusiasm about learning, and he shares that happiness and joy. And we're just so grateful that he is in our classroom because he's a hard worker. He always sets a great example for everybody around him. So I'm very proud of him.
We love that. Some of your special area teachers talked about you too. I heard that you always have a smile on your face and you like to look at books in the library. You're energetic in PE, which is where you should really be very energetic. That's important. You cheer on others as well. You are an amazing art student and you're just a joy to have in there. Mr. Gibbs in STEM says you enter his room with a smile on his face and you're eager to learn and participate. And you're always willing to work with whoever can be your partner that day. You don't really care. Bryce, you're such a great example. Thank you so much for all that you do. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Next, we have Shamrock Springs Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob Hedges, principal at Shamrock Springs Elementary School, and we've got Doc Shaw here and Miss Biddle. And Doc Shaw is our Shamrock Springs Student of the Month. We ask all the second grade teachers who they would pick You know, someone who is always doing the right thing and treating people right. And Daksha, you know who they picked? Who?
Me.
Yeah, me, she said. Absolutely. And had some of her peers describe her, and here's what they said. So here's what some of your friends said. They said she's curious, she's a leader, she's encouraging, and she is smart. So Miss Biddle is going to share a few things as well.
I am Miss Biddle, her second grade teacher. And so Daksha was selected for Student of the Month for many reasons. From the very start of the year, she's shown leadership and strong friendship skills. Daksha is a hard worker who is always up for a challenge and takes the initiative to double check her work even if tasks are easy for her. She is always supportive and tries to point out the strengths of others when working with peers. I expected her peers to say words like leader and smart. I was very impressed that they also said curious. And when I asked them more about it, they said not just curious to learn in school, but curious to learn about the people in our classroom and make them feel special and important. And so Daksha is our leader by example, but also she works to improve herself a little bit each day.
So let's hear it for Daksha.
Next, we have Washington Woods Elementary.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Zach, and I am the proud principal at Washington Woods. And today we are recognizing this amazing student, Oliver Kays, as our Student of the Month. Oliver is in Mrs. Shera's third grade class. So as a Leader in Me school, each month we recognize a student for modeling one of the 7 habits of happy kids. This month we are recognizing Oliver for modeling habit number 3, putting first things first. Putting first things first means organizing around your most important priorities. It is living and being driven by the principles that value you most. Mrs. Shera is going to share a little bit about him.
Which I could share a whole lot, but I'll keep it to just what I said for a Student of the Month presentation. Oliver uses habit 3 daily. He always makes sure to put first things first as soon as he walks through the classroom door. He is a leader for his peers and is always willing to guide his classmates towards their next steps too. Oliver always gets his big rocks, or priority items, completed in a timely manner, then is able to accomplish so much more throughout the day. And I'm proud of all your efforts every day, Oliver.
Oliver's family wanted to share, we are so proud of Oliver and how much he strives to be a leader at home, in his classroom, and throughout the school. Hearing that he's always ready to start the day in a mindful and positive way to help set himself and others up for success comes to us as no surprise, as he has always been a great helper in life. We are so proud of this young man, the young man you are becoming, and can't wait to see you grow as a leader. And then I wanted to share that Oliver has a very special place in my heart. From the moment we met, I knew he would be one of my favorite people, and he continues to impress me every day. I can always count on Oliver to step up and be a leader at Woods. He gives so much of himself to our school and community. He has helped as a student greeter, best buddy, news producer, and he helps with many of our school community events such as Leadership Day and Leader in Me Open House. And before I am done, I would love to share. I have so many stories about this kid, and I told him the hardest thing about presenting tonight was not crying because I love him so much. So I'm going to share. You look so serious right now. It's okay to smile. You're doing great, okay? Okay. Yes. And so I just would love to share a story about Oliver. So Oliver is a car rider, and I have the pleasure to greet him every morning. And when he was in kindergarten, he had a tooth that would not fall out of his head. It would not. I was just like, poor guy. Like every day he'd check in with me. It was, I would say it was like at least a month where we were like checking it every day and seeing if it was going to come out. Was that your first tooth, Oliver? Yeah, I think it was. It was one of his low ones. And so like every day we'd check it out. And on the last day of school, he came up, running up to me, and he smiled as big as he could, and his tooth was out. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Like, what are the odds that you would lose your tooth on the last day of school? And he goes, oh no, Miss Zach, I worked on it all night long. I didn't want to disappoint you, and I knew we had to get it out before summer came, and so you could see it before I left. So I mean, I honestly could share so many stories about how wonderful this kiddo is. And Oliver, we are so proud of you. And it is such a pleasure to have you at Washington Woods and as a friend and student. So let's give a round of applause for this wonderful young man.
Next, we have Westfield Intermediate School.
Hi, my name is Jessica Aldrich. I'm one of the assistant principals at the Westfield Intermediate School, and I am here to introduce Evan, who's our student of the month for December. Evan is a kind student who works really hard, and he is an awesome fifth grader in our building. We're so excited to have him, and he has Mrs. Flynn and Mr. Hare, and Mrs. Flynn is going to share a little bit more about Evan.
Good evening, I'm Meg Flynn. I'm Evan's math and science teacher. And like all of these kiddos here, Evan is a pleasure to have in class. From day one of fifth grade, he came to class with a smile and has upheld our team norms of doing the right thing and treating people right, as well as consistently following our Westfield Intermediate School expectations of respecting the rock. And not only does Evan work hard to meet and exceed his personal and academic goals, but his all-around good nature and character shines through every day. He arrives with a smile, ready to tackle the tasks at hand, and he does this with kindness, respect, and empathy for his peers, but also for his teachers. He takes ownership and rises above challenges, for taking ownership of his work and asking clarifying questions. And when something does come easy to Evan, you can oftentimes find him working in a small group or with a partner, coaching them and helping them achieve success as well. And did I mention how respectful you were? Did I mention that? Just today, I'm going to share the story, if that's okay. We were working on some review story problems for multiplying and dividing decimals, and we were having a conversation about one of the problems, and I had presented what I thought was the correct answer and asked the kids if they had any thinking that they wanted to share. And Evan very calmly raised his hand, and he very thoughtfully and politely constructed a response and said, you know, I think they might be asking a different question, Miss Flynn. I think it's a different operation. And he was right. So he keeps me on my toes every day, don't you? And Mr. Hare, Evan's language arts and social studies teacher, also shares that Evan is a tremendous asset to his classroom community. He is a leader and an exemplary role model. All of those characteristics spill over into robotics and your special area classes, everything you do at WIS. Evan, we are so very proud of you and excited to see what the rest of fifth grade and beyond holds for you. Congratulations.
Okay, next we will have Westfield High School.
guys. This is Isaac Cole, Westfield High School's Student of the Month for the month of December. So there's a phrase that goes around sort of internally in football circles. They say that offensive linemen are the salt of the earth, okay? Salt of the earth to just make the world a better place, right? Okay? And the reason the offensive linemen, not the running backs, certainly not the quarterback and the running backs, the reason the offensive linemen are the salt of the earth is because every single play, they are 100% guaranteed to get into some very physical contact, tough it out, and then when the newspaper write-up occurs, not a single one of them is mentioned. Unless the quarterback got sacked. And that's not good. Isaac Cole epitomizes the salt of the earth mentality that offensive linemen have. He's an offensive lineman through and through, but beyond that, guys, he's a leader, okay? He takes that aspect of being a servant leader, doing the work, engaging in the process, and not necessarily expecting any type of reward, okay? And he has lived it out, not only the month of November and December, but his entire 4 years as a student at Westfield High School. Now, today's going to be a little weird for him, because as an offensive lineman, he doesn't get the praise, and today's sort of been a big day for him. I'll tell you why in a little bit, too. Okay? So, guys, a couple things. When I met Isaac, he was an incoming freshman, and he was just so impressive with how much he emphasized the process. The process, the process, the process. He was not a guy that was like, I had a great day and then didn't show up the next day. I saw him get into the squat racks with sophomores, juniors, and then by the end of the workout session, he was pushing them. Come on, you've got it, guys, you've got it. And that really stood out to me. I had to contact the middle school coach and say, who is this guy? I love him. He's great. Okay, and he said, oh, you'll enjoy him for the next 4 years. Okay, and without a doubt, guys, the football team, as we know, made it to the state title game this year in no small part due to Isaac's leadership. But this is Student of the Month, not just Football Player of the Month. Okay? Isaac is stellar in the classroom. He has a 3.88 GPA. He is a leader in the class, and one of his teachers, Mrs. Ryan King, said that he enthusiastically engages in the learning process. I thought that was really unique because once again, okay, there's that aspect of the day in, day out grind. Okay? He loves the learning aspect, but he also loves what it does for him and his community. Okay? He brings people with him. Mark Ewing is the senior mentor leader. He's also one of Isaac's classroom teachers. He said that Isaac brings joy and positivity to everything and everyone that he joins in with. It's very impressive to his teachers. Tammy Guy, somebody who's worked, because you've done track, but you've also done unified track. Okay? So he's done 2 sports in 1 season, okay, and unified track, working with our students, okay, with a variety of exceptionalities coming together as a team. Tammy Guy was the head coach of that program, and she mentions, okay, that Isaac has a heart of service and compassion that is unsurpassed. Right? And guys, that really does epitomize Isaac Cole. He takes advantage of everything that's offered to him, but brings people with him. He doesn't just get the glory for himself. He inspires others to come along, rise to the same level. And that's what leadership really is, guys. Okay, bringing others with you. I'd be remiss if I didn't put something from Coach Miracle in there. Okay? Coach Miracle, the head coach, has said this. The most rewarding thing for me as a coach is seeing how Isaac has impacted the lives, not only his teammates, but also the younger players that he is mentoring in our youth program. So this is a young man that's not only made an impact on Westfield High School, but will continue to make an impact on Westfield Washington schools and all our students for years to come. He's a great young man. Okay? He absolutely has earned the December Student of the Month. And guys, I've got some big news too. We've all heard of the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award in the NFL, right? Okay? The most outstanding individual in the league. Today, Isaac was honored with the Indianapolis Colts High School Man of the Year Award. Right? So if you can say for him, I've got one last thing here. I know this is out of place where he's getting all these glories and honors today, so I can't just end it there, okay? We have to leave it with this. Not only you are recognized, affirmed, and validated for your work, but I'm going to challenge you, okay? All that you've taken in here at Westfield Schools, all that you've gotten from your family, keep seeing how you can pay it forward. Keep seeing how the impact can be grown, because you're going to have an impact on our world. Congratulations, young man. All right, we got a new photo off here. Okay.
I'm used to seeing you far off the line.
Go. Put that there today, okay?
One more time, Mr. Cole. 1, 2. Thank you, Mr. Cole.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Congratulations to all of our December Students of the Month. Students and their families are invited to the lobby for refreshments and photographs. We will resume the business portion of our meeting in 20 minutes, so that'll be 7:20. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. The next item on the agenda is for the board to hold a project and preliminary determination hearing on the proposed construction projects. If you're interested in speaking at the hearing, please make sure you have completed a comment card, which you should include your name and address. After a presentation by the administration and its advisors, there will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about the projects. At this specific hearing, we will ask that each person limit their comments to 3 minutes and that the topic be limited to the proposed projects under consideration. The notice of the preliminary determination hearing was published as legally required. The first preliminary determination hearing was held on November 12th of 2024. At this time, I will ask Brian Telmichael to explain the purpose of this hearing, the process of determining and communicating the projects to the community, and the need for the projects. And now the proposed projects meet the needs. We will now hear from Matt Shoemaker from Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, and our underwriter, about the process, or about the proposed projects will be financed, as well as information about the effect on the typical property taxpayer. Brian.
All right, so I have Matt Shoemaker with me with Stiefel, and then also Eric Long with Ice Miller if you have any legal questions at the end. So this is our second hearing. This is the exact same presentation we did last time, so I'll go through it rather quickly, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. So we look at enrollment as a district, same with a lot of our Destination Westfield projects. We continue to grow rapidly. We are up very close to 1,700 kids over the last 4 years. And when we look at the price point of a lot of our homes and where a lot of the growth has happened, a lot of our growth is actually happening more in the secondary and kind of the 5-12 area as we move forward. So as we look, we're addressing a lot of our elementary need right now, transportation, operations, middle school, but we still need to address the high school and then also the current intermediate school, which will become the 8th elementary school, and then also the current middle school as well as we move forward. So we have 2 projects that we're working on. One is the Westfield High School addition, which we'll show here in a minute, and budgeted at $90 million, and then remodels of what will become Westfield Elementary School, which is the current intermediate school, and then Westfield Middle School East for $75 million, and that includes a lot of site work. Both projects, the high school project will be looking to break ground on the south end expansion and academic space this summer. And then when we look at the middle school and Middle School East and Westfield Elementary School remodels, we'll be looking at doing that in roughly about 3 to 4 phases, starting as early as this summer as well. So total project cost is $165 million, similar to how we went through the Destination Westfield projects and the issuance side that Matt will talk more about. We have capitalized interest at $16.1 million, and then cost of issuance at $1.4 million to bring the total resolution cost up to $182.5 million. So we look at the Westfield High School addition and remodel. So we are looking at adding a, I will call it the south of the football stadium, a south building to that site. As we look at that, really the first floor is locker rooms and some more athletic space for the high school athletic area there. But as we look at the second and third floor, those are all classroom spaces. So the expansion of academic area here is vast for us, about 40,000 square feet in academic space is being added. Schmidt is still currently working on some tweaks to the design, but it will be multiple classrooms and increase our capacity to almost 4,000 students in this building. The second piece to this is really, the major piece is really looking at the performing arts area. So we'll be looking at expanding out the back of the auditorium to make it a full fly stage as we move forward, and then also creating a larger band room on it as our band program continues to grow. By adding the band program, then that allows some shift in our classrooms to where the band room becomes kind of the new choir room, and then so on and so forth as we work through that, but really create a much larger capacity space for performing arts in that area. And then you'll see at the other end of the building towards where the MPIF is, some minor renovations on that end of the building as well. As we look at the Middle School East and then what will become Westfield Elementary School remodel, so those buildings had a pretty major remodel done in 2018. So really it's kind of touching some of those areas that were not touched during that remodel, also some roofs, and then a lot of site infrastructure as we look through that piece. So a lot of cosmetics on this end, but they are large buildings, so it adds up quickly when you're doing carpet paint and some of those other areas as a whole. And then when we look at the site plan, this is still a ginormous work in progress with Performance Services, which we also have a contract piece later on in the agenda for them as well. Really looking at how's that site flow now that we'll have 2 buildings that start at 2 separate times and quite frankly get the traffic off of 32 during the beginning of the day, and how do we flow around that site. What may not be common knowledge is the roadway, once you kind of hit that awkward 5-way stop by the intermediate school currently, between the middle school and intermediate school, the private or the public road turns into the neighborhood. As the road that goes around the middle school to Shamrock Boulevard, that is all private roadway. So when we look at the site, we will be completely reconfiguring the private side of that road to make it flow better for traffic and everything else. And then as we look at where the current bus lot is, that is honestly a ginormous, outside of twice a day when we pick up and drop off students, a large paved space that could be better utilized, especially as we transition to 2 separate start times, separate busing times as a whole. So really, how do we utilize that space better? We have a test fit for an athletic field there right now. That may change and evolve as we continue to go through site planning and site fitting. So while we continue to work on both those projects and some of the details may change, the budgets do not. So those budgets that were put in place, we believe can cover what we need to accomplish in both of these projects, and really kind of all 3 of these projects as we go through it with both the Schmidt and PSI as we work through those pieces. So I will now turn it over to Matt.
Good evening, everyone. Like Brian said, same presentation. I'll be brief, but happy to answer any questions. So looking at where you guys stand currently today, this shows your 4 property tax-backed funds. In 2024, current budget year, tax rates at $1.27. Do not have finalized budget yet for 25. Should have it in the next few weeks. Every expectation is the tax rate will stay steady at $1.27. Moving forward, you can see there's a drop in 2026 that would give you some space to start repaying the proposed projects we're talking about tonight and do so in a tax-neutral manner. This is where you stand currently today, but as we talked about last month, you've issued about 60% of the Destination Westfield bonds. You still do have about 40% left to issue, but this graph assumes that those bonds are issued. So this has everything that's been authorized as of today in this graph. We thought that painted the clearest picture. As we look at the high school and middle school projects, we don't know the exact timing and the way the amounts will be done, but the working assumption as of today is that all of the high school project bonds would be issued next year, the full $90 million. That's represented by the blue portion of the bar graph on this page. Those payments would begin in 2026 and go all the way through 2044. As we start stacking on the middle school portion, again, the working assumption here is that this will be issued in 3 different stages, a third, and a third, likely to change, but this will at least illustrate that you can do everything without impacting the tax rate. So as we look at 25, 26, and 27, you can see how they all stack on top of each other, staying tax rate neutral at the $1.27. That is the goal with Destination Westfield and these projects, to stay at that $1.27 moving forward. That would keep you at about $1.27 through 2028, 29, and then see a drop in 30 and 31 to have room for additional projects. A school of your size always has needs, so we want to make sure we're not taking up the tax rate for longer than needed. The fun part is the financial parameters. As we talked about last month, these are worst case parameters, so we hope everything will come in a little bit better than this. But for purposes of the resolution tonight, maximum par amount of the bonds is $182,500,000. Estimated cost of issuance and underwriter's discount, these are the upfront professional fees. I don't expect them to be this high, but they are listed at $1.4 million. Capitalized interest, we went through this with Destination Westfield, ended up not needing on Destination Westfield. It's too early to know on this project, so again, worst case financial parameters, we need to build that into the budget. Hopefully that can be removed or at least lowered, but as we sit here today, that is listed at $16.1 million. That would leave the $165 million that are needed to do these 2 projects. Estimated maximum interest rate, that's listed at 7%, very conservatively high. If you're issuing bonds today, you're under 4%. We're not issuing them today. We need to make sure that we're conservative. Estimated total interest costs of 7% on $182.5 million is $172,205,862. Again, when and if these bonds are issued, either at a lower amount or hopefully a much lower interest rate, that number should come down substantially as well. Maximum annual lease payment, that's the highest payment you can have in any one year. That's listed at $25 million. In the resolution, you're going to see a maximum tax rate impact of 38.03 cents. We've already talked about how this is going to be tax rate neutral. This is simply just based on a formula, takes your maximum payment, divides it by your current assessed value, doesn't take into account your other bonds paying off. We're always layering these on top to replace old debt. So the net tax rate impact, what the taxpayers are going to see on their tax bill, is going to be a 0-cent increase. They're going to see that $1.27 moving forward. Last two pieces of information. School corporations max annual payments as a percent of your net assessed value, that is 1.05%. And then your direct and overlapping debt, that is your debt and all the other units' debt that would go into the taxpayer's bill. As a percent of AV, that is 13.55%. So with that, I appreciate it. I am happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
I have one. You said the estimated total interest cost is just 7% of the $182 million, correct?
So the estimated interest rate, when you sell bonds, we're basing these numbers based on a 7% interest rate. If you were to sell them today, you'd be hopefully under 4%. So there should be plenty of cushion there built in based on that interest cost, based on where rates are. A lot of conjecture on where rates might go. We would hope that they would continue to go down, but they certainly could reverse course and go back up.
So really what that means is we would have more available room. If the interest rate was lower, we'd have available space and still stay tax neutral in those later years.
Yeah, so the payback that I show on this page, this hopefully should be the absolute worst case scenario. The other thing that I didn't mention is we're basing these projections off of an assessed value rate of 7% for 26 through 29, and then we flatline you. You guys have averaged almost 15%, so there should be plenty of conservatism built into this picture right here based on what we know and what we're doing for the maximum parameters. I always want to show you worst case, and then hopefully it ends up much better. It gives you more room in the future for additional projects if you need it. Yeah, so my point in all of this is to show you under a worst case scenario, you can do this tax rate neutral. We would hope it would end up looking much better, which all your projects in the past certainly have done that.
A couple just general comments. For those that don't know, our band room, which was relatively new, we outgrew it immediately because the program's growing. Choir will move into the band room as once we build a new band room. Orchestra will hopefully be able to start up and go into that. The classroom spaces were critical. We're just under 3,000, and there are no empty classrooms at this point in time. And based on our final design, this will help get us to 4,000, which puts off that discussion of the second high school until way down the road. And again, it's critical for us to be able to get started on this just because of the classroom space needs as we continue to grow. And, teachers are traveling, which is not the end of the world, but it's tough to plan when you're on a cart and going through the hallways. And just to emphasize, as Brian, myself, and John and Chris, we start looking at growth and development, our view is that if we need to build another elementary school somewhere next 5 or 6 years, we can do that without impacting the tax rate, which is really important. We've dropped our tax rate over 70 cents in the previous years, so our goal is to keep that neutral and not impact our individual homeowners moving forward.
We will now open the public hearing. Remember, if you would like to speak, please complete a comment card, which Stacy Pratt can have for you. As I mentioned earlier, we ask that you state your name, address, limit your comments to the proposed project and financing, keeping any comments to 3 minutes, and avoid being repetitive if possible. May I have the comment cards now? Anyone? Last chance? Okay. Thank you all for who participated in the hearing. We appreciate your time and interest in the projects and the future of our community. Please note that this is just the first step in the legal process. The board will continue to work with the administration and its professionals to look for efficiencies to conserve tax dollars while meeting our educational needs. At this time, I will close the hearing. Okay. We will return to Brian Tom Michael for resolutions related to the 2025 Westfield High School, Middle School, and Intermediate School projects. Sorry.
Thank you. If the board's fine with it, I'll read through all 3 resolutions at one time. All right. So 3 resolutions associated with these projects is first up, Resolution 2024-39 is the project resolution. The project resolution is required when a school corporation is planning to finance more than $1 million on a given school facility. This resolution establishes the estimated cost of the project, the tax impact, and the timing of the impact. Resolution 2024-40 is the preliminary determination resolution. The resolution sets forth the maximums of the following: term of the lease and/or bond issues, lease rental payments, the annual debt service levy, the annual debt service rate. Other information included estimated principal amount, estimated interest rate, total interest cost, current debt service levy and rate, and estimated increase the same, and the statement of the purpose of the bond and lease is also required, which is all the information that Mr. Shoemaker just went over. Final resolutions, Resolution 2024-41, declaration of official intent to reimburse expenditures. If the school corporation pays any preliminary costs related to the projects prior to receiving bond proceeds, it may reserve the ability to reimburse from the bond proceeds after closing. In order to do so, the IRS requires that the school corporation declares its official intent to reimburse. The adoption of the resolution will reserve the school corporation's ability to reimburse itself. To give you an example of that, Schmidt's been working hard on this project all the way through, so there's clearly some bills before we get to the phase of issuing bonds and other items on those. So the administration would request that the board approve Resolution 2024-39, -40, and -41.
At this time, I will entertain a motion to approve resolutions 2024 through 39, or through 2024 through 41 as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolutions 2024-39 through 2024-41. Are there any discussion or any questions?
Thank you for, as always, thank you for the great explanation. Very, very helpful.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you. So now, to the regular meeting. Any comment cards for this evening? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. Consent items include board minutes, accounts payable vouchers, payroll vouchers, and the personnel report. All items in the consent agenda have been reviewed by the board in advance of the meeting and are approved in a single motion. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion or any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you. Every month, we look forward to hearing updates from our construction partners on projects taking place throughout the district. Tonight, we are pleased to welcome Chris from Core Construction to provide an update on several Destination Westfield projects that Core is working on. Welcome, Chris.
Good evening, board. Thanks again. It's always a pleasure to present to you all and show you what we're doing throughout the district. Tonight, we'll be talking about the tennis complex and kind of how that's wrapping up with the building going up, and how the Early Learning Center project is coming along. So over at the tennis building, we're currently installing the underground and the sidewalks around the building. They will be pouring concrete this week to try to get the sidewalks around the building complete. The brick entry and kind of the piers, you'll start seeing those going up over the next couple weeks with fencing coming along. So you'll really start to see that front entry really start to pop and bring that building alive. You can see that the brick has been completed. They're working on the inside of the building. We're all painted out inside. The ceiling grid's going in. We're starting to drop lights, that type of thing. A few things that have, I don't want to say the word delayed, but have delayed when we thought we were going to finish. We were hoping to be done really towards the end of this month, mid-January, but our millwork and the casework inside of the building has been delayed a few weeks, so that's actually coming in the middle of January. So now we're looking at really a turnover of late January to turn that building over. So plenty of time to get accustomed to it, be ready for tennis season to start and all that. So no concerns with any of that. So a few pictures. You can see here kind of that front main entry that's facing the courts. You can see we have temporary plywood in all of the openings currently as we're waiting for the glass to come in and all the doors in the storefront to come in. That other picture is tough to see, but it's a picture of the north side of the building. The workers installing the soffit and the fascia. That's that black aluminum that's going around the outside of the roof line at the eaves. Here's just a drinking fountain area showing the tile installed. The bathrooms are all tiled, sinks are set. We're just kind of waiting for the flooring to come in and get put in so we can get toilets set. That's just a janitor's closet there. You can see the mop sink and the racks to hold brooms and mops and things like that. Here you can see some pictures of the ceiling grid going in, doors and hardware going in. So it's really starting to wrap up and get to the point where we're going to be ready to turn this thing over soon. Right now, we're currently just running temporary heat in the building. Our heating units are coming here in about 3 weeks. So then we'll get final heat in there, and we'll really start to get that thing completed. So coming along, no complaints, everything's going great. Here at the Early Learning Center, drywall has started in areas A and C. You can see for reference there what I'm talking about when I say we're working in A1 and C's the addition onto the admin wing there for the offices. So drywall is going in there. We're going to start taping and mudding next week, and then paint will start in those areas kind of the first, second week of January. They're in area B. They're still doing in-wall rough. We're going to inspect that this week, so drywall and insulation will start next week on that end. Windows are going to be going in mid-January. The brick is obviously going in throughout the winter here. If you guys see, we're all scaffolded and tented in to keep the brick going throughout the winter here. The parking lots and site utilities, all the site utilities are complete throughout the whole space. All our wells are drilled for our geothermal, so that's all completed and brought into the building. We're currently soil stabilizing a few of the parking lot areas that the soils were just bad. So that all was getting done today, and they're going to start installing their stones, so you can start seeing that parking lot being developed there. The softball fields are complete, and the baseball fields are currently being turfed. Those guys are going to continue to work whenever they can, as long as the temperature's allowing. So everything is on schedule. Everything seems to be going great. There's obviously going to be a really hard push come this spring with getting into the kitchen area and starting to get all that reworked. And this front entry canopy and new sidewalk that's coming in. You'll all start to see that coming this spring. So super exciting stuff. Here's a good overview. You can see really the massive footprint that we have and the work that we're doing. You can see that turf. This was from, I think, late November, this picture. So you can see the baseball field directly at the end of the picture there. You can see them starting to turf that baseball field. But then you can kind of see how the parking lot's being developed there on the west side of the addition we're doing, and really what the shape of the building looks like, how large that courtyard will be once it's completed for all the outside space and the play space for the kids. Here's just some inside photos of drywall progress in area A, and you can see all the above head in the hallways with all the hydronic piping and everything that we got to run down those hallways to serve the classrooms themselves for heating and cooling. Again, drywall progress with insulation going in those walls, the roofing progress. We should be, by the end of this week, 100% dried in on the roof. That big media center tall roof was the last area to get completed. That should be completed this week, so the roofing is 100% complete, which is a great milestone to stop water from getting in the building we're working in. Here's area C drywall. This is actually a little bit of a stale photo because the drywall in area C is really 100% completed at this point. They're going to start taping that next week. And then you can see there just a picture of the mason scaffold all tented in, so they're staying nice and warm while they're putting their brick up. That's all I have. Are there any questions on anything?
I don't think I have any questions. Thank you for your update.
I have a rugby lacrosse question. I've been asked by a couple of the moms. I've told them that because of the wet fall, that those will be done probably late spring, but not early spring.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
late spring is what you're going to be looking at there. The goal right now, all of the perimeter drains are in,
Right.
so all of our underground work is complete. We just got to get the stone down, and then we'll start laying turf. The minute
Once
we
stone
can.
goes down, they can put turf on
Yep,
top.
Yep,
Okay.
as soon as we can. So yeah, I would say a late spring is a confident answer there. I would say May, some early May.
And then, Chris, how are we on like budget contingency use?
Everything is holding really strong, and obviously, in all of our OECs that we have every other week, we're updating Brian on exactly where contingencies are at, but we're really not hardly spending any of it, in all honesty. We're using some allowances that we had set aside for the soil stabilizations and things like that, But as far as the contingencies go, those are all holding really strong.
Thank you.
Any All right, thank you all.
The agenda is the Design Build Master Agreement with Brian Michael will present.
Thank you. So we have Nick Allen in the audience as well from Performance Service. So as the district continues to work through the design build process, we are now at the point of approving the master agreement with Performance Service. We've been working in the design process now for several months, redefining the scope and the needs for the project for the final budget of the $75 million, which was in the public hearing we just went through a second ago as well. The final master agreement is still being reviewed with CCHA and our insurance company Assured Partners in an effort to continue to move the projects along, though, in the most efficient way for the district, and as well as to hit some of those summer timelines we're looking to hit to do some earlier work. We're asking if the boards will provide permission for either the superintendent or myself to sign off on the final contract once final approval has been given by CCHA and then our insurance company. I did include the contract template that's in there today. The template itself should not have any material changes in it. That document's pretty straight. It's just insurance sometimes has certain limits that they check just to make sure we're covered on our end. And then John Becker with CCHA reviews all of our contracts, and he is thorough would be an understatement. So sometimes it just takes a little bit longer with him, but he will check all those T's and I's and make sure everything's in the right place. So. But we would ask that the board could go ahead and approve and provide permission for myself or Dr. Kaiser to sign off once the final certification has come from CCHA.
Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the superintendent or assistant superintendent for business and operations, the ability to sign the final master agreement pending final review and the approval by CCHA and Assured Partners as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the superintendent or assistant superintendent for business and operations ability to sign the final master agreement pending final review and approval by CCHA and Assured Partners. Is there any discussion or any questions at this time? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you, Brian. We'll return to you for the next agenda item for consideration, the WWS Self-Insurance Fund.
Yep, so this item actually goes back several years now. I don't know if Rebecca will remember it, but we talked about as our self-insurance fund continues to do extremely well in the district, there's really no way to capture some of those dollars and utilize them in different purposes without, quite frankly, not paying in a contribution for 1 month. Our current self-insurance fund balance is sitting at $7.8 million. In the district, and we are asking to forego our December contribution to that fund, which will then save our education operations and other funds where we pay our benefits from roughly $900,000 in that 1 month. We will see a reduction in our self-insurance fund then within that month, and it should end the year around $7 million. This is still well above where our MJ Insurance, our insurance company, would say that we need to maintain our balances. So we feel very prudent on that. Also with that, we wanted to recognize that this is a very unique scenario for us, and we wanted to make sure as we move forward that there are, quite frankly, some processes in place that we have to go through in case we ever wanted to consider this in the future. So Chris Sluter is sitting in the back. Chris Sluter, and we have 3 CTA members on our insurance committee along with Cindy Keevil and then Chris Baldwin and myself. There are 4 votes, 2 from WCTA, and then Chris and myself have the other 2 votes, and our insurance committee also voted on this today and approved it 4-0 as coming to the board. So in order for this to go through, we have set it up that not only would the school board have to approve, but also the insurance committee as well to make sure we have representation of both those groups as well. So we would ask then, since it's gone through those steps, that the board approves the, I'll call it the insurance holiday for December, to not pay the contributions to the self-insurance fund to offset and save that roughly $900,000 in payments.
Thank you, Brian. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the insurance premium holiday for the December 2025 corporation payments as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the insurance premium holiday for the December 2025 corporation payments. Is there any discussion or any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Motion passes. All right, Brian, moving back to you for the Riverview Hospital bed donation
Yep. So as we look at the YMCA and then also the University Center of Hamilton County, or our educational space over at the YMCA, we have been looking at doing medical classrooms in at least one of those classrooms, really kind of two of the spaces over there. And with that, we have been working on getting hospital beds for that space as well to help with the curriculum in those buildings, and reaching out to our partners, which Riverview has always been a great partner for us. They mentioned that they would be able to donate the 6 hospital beds that we need and beds that they are no longer utilizing. So we are still working on finalizing exactly when will those be delivered and which exact beds we'll have, but they have committed to donating those 6 beds for us. If we were to look to purchase those on our own, they'd be roughly about $2,500 each, which comes to a rough about $15,000 donation from Riverview and kind of foregone expense. So we would ask that the board approve the acceptance of the donation of 6 hospital beds for our nursing classrooms.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the hospital bed donation from Riverview Health as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the hospital bed donation from Riverview Health. Is there any questions or any discussion?
More so just a clarification. Dr. Kaiser, if you want to shed light on this, so Y is doing their groundbreaking or their, ribbon cutting in January, but our spaces will be ready like more so in the summer.
Our space will be ready simultaneously, but we're gonna have a ribbon cutting at a separate time. They're doing it over Christmas break, when some of us aren't gonna be here at that time, and, but we'll do our own thing. We have those 7 classrooms, and they'll be ready to go, this spring. If we needed to, the 3rd trimester, we could move kids over there. Those classrooms that Brian talked about, our CNA program, we've had up to 90 kids in a whole calendar year go over there, and they're doing a traditional classroom. So having those hospital beds and having that space will be tremendous. Next year, we're going to be bringing an aeronautics program in, teaming with Republic Airlines and some other things. So we'll slowly, gradually move in. They'll be available anytime during the 2nd trimester after January. But again, we won't start scheduling classes till the 3rd try. But then we're going to be ready to go. Excited.
That's exciting.
Amber, I just, thanks again for Riverview for being such a great partner in all aspects of the district's efforts.
Yep, I agree. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Up next is the Robbie's Hope Club donation. And again, Brian Telmichael.
Yep, so the Westfield High School and the Robbie Hopes Club reached out they will be having their Robbie's Hope Gala again this year in April or May. Ascension St. Vincent has reached out and requested to be their $5,000 title sponsor for that event and support the club. Per our board policy, a $5,000 donation or above has to be approved by the board, so we are just asking permission for the board to accept that $5,000 donation to Robbie's Hope.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to accept the donation from Ascension St. Vincent for the Robbie's Hope Club as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. It's been moved and seconded to accept the donation from Ascension St. Vincent for Robbie's Hope Club. Is there any discussion or any questions? This is the event they have off-site, right, Brian?
Yes, it's typically the last 2 years been at Emmy. Yep.
Yeah.
Does this, does all 5,000 go to support the actual event, or?
So there's the cost of the event, but then they also then have, like our other clubs, club money in that they then do events throughout the school and different activities throughout the school year.
And then they'll turn around and donate some of their cash balance to different causes, especially with the goal of the suicide prevention. So again, they do a lot of community service related to that.
Great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. The final item on the business and operations agenda is the approval of 3 overnight field trips. Brian?
Yep, so we have 3 overnight high school band field trips this year. They are all 3 to the World Championships in Dayton, Ohio. Yeah, they do wish Daytona, Florida. Dayton, Ohio, equally as exciting. The dates for the trips are Saturday, April 12th, and Sunday, April 13th, April 10th through April 12th, and then April 3rd through April 5th. They are all with Westfield High School Band. They are all using Westfield High School buses traveling back and forth, and then the band boosters will be covering the cost of the trip through their different means of fundraising and other activities. So we would ask that the board approve the 3 Westfield High School Band out-of-state field trips.
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you, Jimmy. It has been moved and seconded to approve the 3 Westfield High School band overnight field trips. Is there any discussion or any questions?
Just thank you to the boosters for fundraising and supporting the students.
It's very impressive. I hope they continue to get to go to cool places to attract more kids to the band. It's fun.
At this time, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. Thank you, Brian. We'll now move on to the curriculum portion of the agenda, and our next order of business is a Westfield Washington Public Library Board appointment presented by Dr. Atha.
Thank you, Mrs. Willis, members of the board. So Nancy Knockel is a WWS Board of School Trustees appointment to the Westfield Washington Public Library Board, and she has decided to retire from the board after 13 years of faithful service in that role. Her last meeting is scheduled for December 11th, 2024. Nancy would like to recommend Lori Tebby to complete her term. Both Jody Dubovich and Amber Vandenberg, who represent the board as appointments, have spoken highly of Lori, and she has expressed an interest in the position. So Nancy's term officially ends November 30th of 2026. And so she's going to serve again through the end of this year, and then the appointment for Lori would begin January 8th at that meeting, 2025. So the administration recommends that the Board of School Trustees appoint Lori Tebby to the Westfield Washington Public Library Board to finish that term.
Lovely. At this time, I entertain a motion to approve the appointment for Lori Tebby to the Westfield Washington Public Library Board as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the appointment for Lori Tebby to the Westfield Washington Public Library Board. Is there any discussion or any questions at this time?
Does Lori know this?
Yes.
It said she agreed. Thank you, Bill.
Jody Dubovich serves as the assistant principal at Shamrock Springs, where Lori is the librarian, and so they've had conversation.
Perfect. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. We'll turn it back to you, Dr. Atha, for a curriculum update.
Awesome. Well, a couple things I just want to mention. First of all, this past Wednesday, the State School Board approved the update to the diploma. That update impacts our current 8th graders, our rising freshmen for next school year, and their graduation date, which I believe is 28-29. However, if that flexibility they've provided in that update helps any of our current students, we certainly will take advantage of it to help those kiddos. And the high school has already begun working and will continue to work through those changes and how they impact. However, one of those impacts, because our freshman course book will change, and we didn't know until Wednesday whether this diploma would pass, and our first meeting is scheduled in January. So we have provided that course book for your review, and I don't think we need action, but what we have said is they're going to start sharing this at the January 9th meeting, which is before our board meeting, where we'll officially ask you to update it. So if you have any questions, we can talk through that. And then If anything needs to change, we'll let the school counseling team know, but we're pretty confident that everything's in order. But we didn't want to rush it through tonight because we didn't get it finalized till Friday. Just didn't seem fair to you as board members to try to review this course catalog in a weekend and then approve it. But we have assured them that that will happen in January. And again, it takes a couple months to get all that scheduling completed anyway, so that's one update. The second is, we spoke to the board about a possible calendar update. We're gonna push that to January. We talked with our teachers. They wanna look at a couple opportunities, but we got great news on Friday. Brian and I met with our mayor, and we only need to worry about Friday. The dates for Live Golf are August 15th and 16th and 17th, so it's a one-day impact. So we're looking at how that could work well with the calendar. And we didn't want to rush that. We figured let's get a good solution to the board in January, and then we'll bring the following year's calendar at that same time, and we'll just do it all together. Fair
Makes
enough?
sense. Fair.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Is it gonna be like a practice round that might impact this at all?
We're pretty sure that, if we can work it out, that the parking lot at Monon Trail is available for this tournament, that you might be able to play a practice round or at least watch a practice round.
Damn guys.
They have all sorts of things they're planning. I don't know if Ashley, she'll probably be able to speak to that the closer we get to the event with a lot of engagement things, but they do want to involve our kiddos at this event, not only our high school kiddos, but any of our community kiddos, any of that grade level. They want to make it a community event, hence why we need to work with them to work around school on that day. But there'll be more in January for that. Just wanted to let the board know.
Perfect.
Couple other things going on. We had Dr. Hoover working again with our English language arts teachers today, again, as we implement that new curriculum. Great work with our coaches and teachers and the excitement about that learning and that implementation. Yes, it's hard work, but also very positive implementation with our kiddos. Even Mr. Baldwin got to teach a unit today at Washington Woods. And what, first graders, what was the word?
Astonishment was a vocabulary word in first grade. They were great.
You started speaking, they were like, that's that word.
Mr. Anderson says it's a vocabulary, just as long as it's not a spelling word, right? Yeah. So, and then we will begin in January some mathematics work at our high school. So as they continue to try to align with the work we're doing and the adoptions we've had, and again, one of the things that I consistently try to say is that the work of curriculum and instruction begins with a high-quality research-based resource. The resource is not the curriculum. It's a tool for our professionals to use to ensure kids learn the essential targets that they need to learn. And the high school math department in certain spots have not adopted. The last adoption, they just adopted a tool that helps them make problems, or it's a bank of problems that they can use, and it's really not a resource. And so as we've done that work, and we believe we're going to have better prepared mathematics students going to Westfield High School, they want to kind of review together. And so we're in a meeting today. We can share more after the new year, but we'll be doing work with about 11 or 12 mathematics teachers at the high school. So that's exciting. And the last thing I would mention, we continue to push forward and talk about how to support teachers when 5th grade go to 8 elementaries and 6th grade go to the middle schools. Our teachers are very conscientious, and as we had a S2S meeting at the intermediate school. So we're trying to provide clarity and support and begin that after the new year, this year, to prepare for those changes that happen in August of 26. So it's not just dropped on them at that time. So thank you to Dr. Hoover and the team as they continue to support our teachers and the great work they do. And that's the curriculum update.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Atha. Now we'll turn it to Ashley Knott for a communication and community engagement update. Welcome.
We've had a busy month and a half, and so we have a lot to be grateful. We kicked off the season supporting and hosting Rocks Giving. We were able to feed over 1,500 meals with over 200 volunteers and more volunteers that wanted to be there helping to serve than we could find jobs for. So that's a good problem to have. These events are only able to happen because of sponsors and donors. So acknowledging BJ's Wholesale, Coca-Cola, the Duke Energy Foundation, BMW, Riverview Hospital, Texas Roadhouse, and Costco. No money was taken out of the school budget. It was 100% donated by community partners. And many of them have already asked how they can participate again next year, as well as we had some inquiries from other businesses. So that's wonderful. We just celebrated Bourbon and Bling, which is a foundation event, allowing us to support teachers and students in different programs. Again, all of these events, there's lots of people to be thankful for, partners, Core Construction, CSO Architect, Dormy Network, Everwise Credit Union, Garmont Construction, KGR Law, Market District, Moyer, Fine Jewelers, Noble Wine and Spirits, Performance Services, Prime 47, RNDC Distribution, Roush Mazda, Schmidt Associates, and St. Elmo's. So when we're hosting things, these folks are making it possible. It allows us also to do things when we raise money to support programs like Holiday Giving, which is also supported by community. We had about 12 churches join us as host spots because our schools are so crowded, there's not enough room to collect the things. So many of these church partners jumped right in and helped us fill the needs. We had over $7,500 donated for us to purchase extra gifts that maybe weren't picked up, purchased, and those. So we'll deliver about 4,500 gifts to 1,200 different students throughout the district, and not all students attend Westfield schools. This was a program open to the entire Westfield community, working with Open Doors and Westfield Youth Assistance. So Crossroads Church, United Methodist, Westfield Friends Church, Radiant Life Church, Westfield Bible Methodist, Community Bible Fellowship, the Fields Church, Northview Circle Church, Northview Church, Field Church, Thrive Church, and Inspire. And I would like to compliment Matt Gaylor is one of our leads for the church partners, and so he handles those conversations with all of their leads and really makes our job easier in that sense, so we get to coordinate the gifts. Our counselors then have the relationships with students, and so the gifts are not given by us, they're given by the counselors, and they're able to, each child receive 2 wishes and 2 needs. Sometimes when needed extra by the counselors, they may have also received a food gift card if asked for by the counselors. The foundation is also excited to share that we have several partners that have signed up for a 2025 partnership, which was new this year. So CSO Architects, Core Construction, Schmidt Associates, Garment Construction, Performance Services have all signed on with multiple things. They've wanted to be support in many ways, and so we really appreciate those partnerships and be able to plan ahead efficiently for our friends. Each of them also have started a new scholarship. So not only are they supporting today, but they've committed to the next, an amount that will supply a scholarship for the next 20 years to students. So we're trying to plan far ahead for all of this growth. We also have a new Ivy Tech Community College Scholarship sponsored by the Hamilton County Commissioning Office for a student, so that's new. Looking ahead, we don't sit around too long. We're planning Alumni Night, if you want to write that down, Mike, on January 25th. It's after or before a basketball game. It's going to be a spaghetti dinner with bingo. So you can come. It'll be a 5:30 start time for the game, so it'll be a little bit early because it's homecoming, the winter homecoming. So we wanted to do something. I'm working with the middle school to plan an event called Strong Minds, Strong Choices, supporting your students' success, where we will have an evening that is focused on positive executive functioning, and Chris and Kristen Ballard will be the keynote speakers. It will be supported by our mentors from the high school, We have a professor coming from Purdue that will speak, and then we have 2 other breakout sessions and some other groups. And lastly, Shamrock Academy will fall under my team, and we will regroup in January and start hosting those. So we will get a plan and share that out, but we will do applications in early spring for next year, planning far ahead for that. So we'll let you know when that comes out. And that's about all right now.
Just a little bit going on, Ashley. Thank you. And don't forget, scholarships are due.
Scholarships are open and they are due, I don't have it right in front of me, just before spring break.
April 1st.
Oh, April 1st, that's right. There's a lot of dates flying around. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Anyone else have a success story? Congratulations to the football team. Right, Bill? I know we all want to say
I'd like
it.
to congratulate, I didn't know I'd get to do it, the Westfield football team for making it to state again. They played great, had a great game, it was a lot of fun to watch, had a great season, and hope to do it again soon.
Yes. It was a fun night.
I just want to congratulate Jimmy, 4 years. This is your last meeting. Congratulations, and thank you for everything you've done for the Westfield students and everything else. It's been my pleasure working with you, so I very much appreciate your time and effort.
I would like to add to that. I know when Jimmy was elected 4 years ago, we immediately made him president of the board. He was a young go-getter. We figured he'd be great at it, and he was. Yep. So thank you for doing that, and thanks again for your service for 4 years. You've been fantastic.
Well, thank you all. And my success story was just saying thank you to all of you for all the wisdom and thinking you've shared with me over the last 4 years, and the opportunity to win my election, but then be president. That was really cool, and I really appreciate your all support that year. And thank you to not all of you in the audience, but anybody listening from home, everybody out in Westfield. Was really neat to feel all the support, and a big thank you to Amy Pichter. I know when the transition happened, she got me involved right away, and I really appreciated her transition. And I mean, seriously, just thank you to all of you. I mean, Bill, your eternal optimism, and I know that if I go to Fort Wayne, you can help me meet somebody there.
Allen County.
No, I will note, Amy Pichter now sits on the Education Foundation board, so your next move is to go see Ashley.
There we go. All right. Mike.
We've nominated you to be the president. I don't know if you knew that yet. We should probably talk to you later. Sorry.
The meeting's next week.
Well, I know my new job and my little girl and my wife will appreciate, more time on my schedule. But Mike, serving with you and, your experience as a coach and a hometown boy has been really helpful. Amber, your experience as a hometown girl and, a mother of 4 kids. Three, excuse me.
Husband, I guess, 4.
It's been really great. Rebecca, I knew that if I always had a financial question, I could go to you. And so I think that's always great for board to have somebody that's got a strong fiscal mind. And then Chris, my first superintendent I served with, so thank you for you stepping up. And Brian, I think this board would agree we'd put you up against any CFO in the state, probably the country. So thanks for all that you did. And then Paul, thank you for saying yes to the district. And thank you for dealing with my very good poker face. I think besides interrupting our interview early, giving us, I think he gave us a book and a binder to go home with, right? Very, very prepared. But just thank you all, and I really appreciate the opportunity. And I will see you around. And you've got speaking as somebody who did not grow up in public schools, you've got a great advocate for public schools now. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Well, with that being said, Jimmy, we would like to give you, and thank you, Stacy, for taking care of this. This states, with great gratitude for your exemplary service and the positive difference you made for our students and our staff. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So,
Feels like rock me.
Brian's hiding. Thank you.
Any other success stories before we close this meeting? Dr. Atha?
That's a tough act to follow. I do believe Seussical the Musical was
yes.
put on after our last board meeting, so kudos to the theater department, and I went to the final show, and I have to tell you, what I love about that is how not only did the kids put on the show, but even as they wrapped up, our students thanked the audience and thanked the adults, right? The adults said very few things, and our kids were so well-spoken and did an amazing job. And so just wanted to thank them and tout them for that performance.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
I have one more quick. I'd like to shout out to Nancy Knuckle. I have known Nancy since 2005. She was an ISTA rep back at my first superintendency at Monroe Gregg, and she's just a class act. Her daughter teaches for us at the intermediate school, and again, as a longtime public educator, still continue to give back and serving on the library board. Just want to thank Nancy for her service to all the kids in the state of Indiana, what she's done to move education forward. So again, a special shout out to Nancy.
I also wanted to I apologize, thanking Stacy for keeping me organized and my accounts updated and everything. So, and then John, thank you for everything you've done as well coming on. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Our next regular board meeting will be January 14th at 6:30 p.m. in this room. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Oh, is there a second to the motion?
It's fine.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Still Jimmy's last motion, man.